Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Sunday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe at Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there, join the militia. It is Super Bowl Sunday, which means, well, not much to me other than I'm going to eat a bunch of food I shouldn't tonight. That's pretty much what that means, right? The Orange piled on frustration and disappointment for 40 minutes in a 78-61 loss to Clemson and a missed opportunity to hang their hats on a quad one win. Syracuse falls to 10-6, 4-5. You'll hear from us and we'll hear from you in fan feedback. And Cuse will be back on the road Tuesday to play NC State for the second time in about 8-9 days, something like that. 9 days, I think. We'll let you know what we think about that. Also, Syracuse drops to 55th in KenPom and 54 in the net after the loss against Clemson. So, a rough one. And I understand everybody's really excited. So if you're here, you're the hardcore group. And we appreciate you for tuning in to just talk through it. We'll go over the fan feedback, like I said. So, all right. Well, let's hear what Coach had to say after the loss.
You know, the first half, their defense just overwhelmed us, and they got in front of us, and we weren't aggressive, and we missed 5 layups, and we made a couple steals when it was a 6 or 8 point game, and got down and we didn't convert. Marek missed a layup, Allen missed a layup, and then we missed another layup. So we missed 4 or 5. They really played well. I mean, if we make some layups and just hang in there, it's a 10, 12-point deficit. You got a chance to overcome it, but 20 is hard. They're really good. Once they got over their COVID pause, they played really good the other night, and I thought they were really good today. They shot it really well. The one good thing that came out of this game is I've been trying to get Joe to be aggressive, and he's just been playing side to side. The second half, he went at people and, got his offense going. We need him to score. Quincy struggled against their big kid. He's good, really good defensively, and Allen really struggled. We all struggled. Everybody struggled offensively. But I thought Kadari made a couple good defensive plays, but he's still got to learn where he can score, find his way to where he can get to the basket and score. But, rebounding 17 down. We started the game, made a couple defensive stops. They got both rebounds and put them in. So it's 4-3. We're down, and we get a defensive rebound there. It's, we're ahead. So rebounding is a problem, has been a problem, and will probably be a problem. I thought Barama, it was good to get him back out there. Obviously he hasn't played in 11 weeks, and, he's just, he's not really ready to play yet.
Jim, just what you can say about Barama's fight to get back onto the court and just what he can do being back in there, freeing up Marek and putting him where he typically is.
It's just hard. I mean, he's tried everything he could, and his knee's sore, and it's hard to play this game when you can't run and jump. I mean, that's his game. His game is his athletic ability to movement, running, jumping. He's not a shooter. He gives us that. And he's doing everything he can to do that, but, he hasn't done anything in 12 weeks or whatever, close to it, I think. And, it's just, I thought, he's moving, he's trying to be in the right positions, but he was right there. He just couldn't get the jump to get the ball, I'm not sure he's going to be able to do much. It's been a long time. We got 2-3 weeks to go. I mean, it's going to be hard for him to get back there.
All right, the coach montage is brought to us by BetOnline. BetOnline, the title sponsor for the Cuse Militia and Armchair Media. It is Super Bowl Sunday. I understand some of you may miss out on what I'm about to say because it is early Sunday, but some of you might not even listen until Monday, which is fine. But if you get over to BetOnline today, they've got all the Super Bowl props for you, down to the coin toss, the typical coin toss. What color is the liquid going to be that the winning coach gets dumped over his head? So the Super Bowl's here. The NBA's in full swing. Get over there today. Sign up. Will the Chiefs go back-to-back? Can Tom Brady claim his 7th ring and become the greatest of all time? BetOnline has all the action you need to get on the big game. Hundreds of prop bets to keep the whole game entertaining. BetOnline, they're going the extra mile to make sure you can get in on everything imaginable this season, from game spreads and totals to team, player, and coach and props. BetOnline gives you more options to wager than any other place online. Head over to BetOnline today. Use the promo code ARMCHAIR to take advantage of all the great sign-up bonuses. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. Thank you, BetOnline. Okay, so the good, the bad, and the ugly, as it were. Well, Sidibe's back. That's good. Not a whole lot going on as expected, but it was great. Not just good to see him back. All 11 minutes of it. Syracuse more than doubled their first half points with 42. Girard leading the way, putting up a game-high 19 points total. Syracuse did get to the line quite a bit, 27 times, and they did get the ball inside for some decent looks. The bad is that they were only 13 for 40 from 2 and missed a ton of stuff at the rim. Guerrier on the cusp of averaging a double-double per game with 16 points and 9.5 rebounds. Only had 8 points and 6 rebounds against Clemson. He struggled. Then there's Buddy. He struggled. 8 points, 2 for 7 from 3. And just the inconsistency continues. The ugly, a pathetic first half. The Orange could only muster up 19 points and went into the locker room down by an even 20. Only making 3 field goals, 3 lousy field goals in the first half. 3 buckets. That's freaking terrible. 2 from Buddy and 1 from Q. They shot 3 for 25, 12%. Negative 13 on the boards in the first half. The Orange would play better in the second, way better, but they were still never a threat to the Clemson defense. The Tigers shot 10 for 23 from distance, 43%, and 53% from the field to Syracuse's 5 for 20 from 3 in an abysmal 18 for 60, 30% from the field as a team. Clemson turned the ball over 20 times, and Syracuse could only managed 9 points out of that mess. And finally, at the end of the day, Syracuse ended up negative 17 on the glass. And it goes without saying that they'll never win these kinds of games with that kind of effort on the boards. Joe, we come here game after game, win or lose, try to point out the positives, right? So we try to keep things positive, but it's starting, let's be honest, with what we've had the past couple of years, it's starting to get difficult with the inconsistency, especially this year, as far as Syracuse goes game to game. The fact that there is enough time left, with enough games left, to finish with a decent resume, unfortunately, I just haven't seen enough from this team this year so far that tells me they can string together enough wins to build that resume worthy of getting an NCAA tournament bid. Inconsistent game to game. We never know what we're going to get. And right. I think, like I said, that the opportunities are there. This was a huge one, a huge missed opportunity to get a quad 1 win on the road and just fail. And it wasn't even close. That's the thing.
Well, and so many things happened here. There's a lot to unpack with everything because there are reasons why, obviously, yesterday was what yesterday was. Listening to Boeheim's presser, it was pretty obvious that the first half, missing 5 layups, missing some bunnies, missing some opportunities like that. That's the difference between being down 20 points versus being down 10 points. And, we saw that against NC State. We went in and we made the adjustments. And I thought that yesterday we made decent adjustments after halftime. But this team's got to be able to figure this stuff out a little bit faster on the fly. Obviously, our shooting versus their shooting. We talked about how their defense was good and aggressive, and they went deep. And if they started to get hot because they did have the shooters, then it was going to be tough. But I don't think anybody expected us shooting what we did in the first half. So, them out rebounding us by 17. They shot well. They only missed 24 shots, had 11 offensive rebounds. So they basically almost had an offensive rebound every other miss that they had. We had more offensive rebounds than defensive rebounds, which kind of tells a lot too. But Clemson also had 20 turnovers. So again, there's a lot there. And, Kadari played a bunch of minutes and I think people liked it. But Gerard, he did end up being probably the best shooter statistically. He had 19 points, he was 7 of 13. When you go down the line and everybody else, Quincy going 3 and 11, Buddy 3 and 13, Griffin 2 and 13. It's just not going to get it done against a team that plays good defense, and it just happens to kind of be on that day as far as shooting. Just everybody was just hitting a shot. At some point, it just seemed like they couldn't miss, even when we were playing better defense. So I don't know. I felt there was a little momentum there in the second half there that was starting to build a little bit, where if Clemson started missing shots, we could have made it close, but they just didn't miss. So, just that crappy first 10, however many minutes it was, 15 minutes of that offense, it killed us, dude.
Yeah, well, you don't go into the locker room making 3 baskets.
Down more points than you scored.
Down more points than you scored, and then expect to come out and play some solid basketball. If they go into that locker room down by, let's say 6-10, they make something out of the second half, and who knows? Because the second half was very even. They played way better, 42 points in the second half.
42 to 30. They scored 39 in both halves. So, again, even if we were shooting better, this still would have been a tough game to win, just because of how good they were shooting in our defense. So.
And, the defense, and of course, we'll get into everything else in fan feedback. Hey, look, you guys set the pace and conversation for what we talk about.
It's weird, and it's weird too. And I got a lot more to say about it. I know I'm going to hit it up when it comes to fan feedback. So there's a couple things that happened that made me, again, kind of cautiously optimistic. So. We can get to that.
Well, here's one thing, and it's not in fan feedback, so it's something that we can just throw around. You heard Coach not very optimistic. He doesn't think there's enough time left, basically. And I mean, we know it's Coach. It's a post game presser after a loss, but we hear him talk. Sidibe got 11 minutes. Doesn't think he's got enough time to get it done. I mean, I would think that in a few weeks, with practice and everything, that. Of course he's going to improve, right? I mean, he's got to be able to do some kind of improvement. But when they were in there, when you had Kadari and Sidibe in there at first, it looked okay.
The defense looked a lot better.
It looked a lot better.
And we were
they struggled.
Out.
Clemson.
He was subbing some people out, and it could have been better, but it kind of gave me a little bit of a glimpse of what that defense could look like if you had the right personnel in there, especially with a legitimate center. But again, he's still kind of coming back from that knee, and there's no doubt in my mind that he can get more minutes and he can get better. It all really just depends on how his knee reacts on doing so. So let's just hope he played those 11 minutes and he's good to go. And his knee isn't really, really sore to where he's got to sit out practices and not be able to play come Tuesday. I think if he plays on Tuesday, then I think that's a good sign that he's going to be able to get better and kind of improve as the season goes on. But you never know, because a couple years ago he was playing 10+ minutes just subbing for Chukwu, and his knees were really, really sore. So. You never know if it's a situation where it's just something he's trying to tough out, or if he's really, good and coming back, and they're going to be able to up the minutes per game.
Well, I think, I don't think he looked terrible. I mean, he wasn't really getting down with it, but he made one. He had 1 point in the game. He went 1 for 1 from the line, and that sequence right there with him getting up, he missed the putback, but. I mean, he got up there and did it, and it just, it's baby steps. I didn't think he looked terrible. He looked,
He looked aggressive on offense, and he looked like he was playing his part on defense. I think that he allowed a couple offensive rebounds and putbacks, but it's not just him, but also the forwards just being out of place. So
what do you have to say about, being down like we were, and, you've got 8-10 minutes left, and we haven't cut into this lead. I think it grew to 25 at one point, and we're obviously on the struggle. And you've got Sidibe, who played 11 minutes, sitting on the bench. And what about throwing in Edwards? I mean, I'm not saying you're throwing the game away, but I mean, it doesn't matter to you. See, it matters.
No, not really. I mean, the thing is again, this looks like a blowout, but it was some pedestrian layups that we missed. Now Quincy a couple around the rim.
Oh, a bunch for him.
Griffin around the
Dolajai.
rim. I mean, Marek had one he should have just alley-ooped and dunked, and I don't know what he was doing.
I don't know. He's scared of touching the rim. All these guys.
Yeah. And again, those 4 or 5 little bunnies that you should make in your sleep as a D1 player keeps it within striking distance, and that's the difference, because when you're down this amount and it gets to a certain point in the second half, then you start seeing the bad shots, the ones that, Griffin and Buddy were putting up, because now you're like, we got to break into this lead. We got to hit threes. And if we don't, then we're going to lose. But if you keep it within 10 double digits like we did against NC State, all it takes is a run. You put a little bit of pressure on Clemson, and it doesn't make it as easy for them to make the shots, and you have a different game going into the second half.
You keep that game close going into the locker room at the end of the half. I mean, it wasn't. And ifs and buts or candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. But if it's close, right. Clemson's not playing that relaxed. Dude, they just played, it was like effortless to them. They had the lead, they had the cushion, they were just stroking it, and they were feeling it. They didn't have any pressure. Had they had some pressure, that's a mind F. I mean, you can, you can throw them off their game, but they just didn't get it.
Well, and that's where you saw this. I mean, they had 20 turnovers. That's still a lot. So, again, that's where you see a little bit of the lackadaisical, because they really weren't worried about it. But, again, they were still hitting their shots.
Yeah.
If that's close and we put a little bit of pressure on them, they start turning it over just the same and they're missing shots, then obviously that's a different story. So,
right.
That's what we needed. And we spoke about it about the preview about how this is a team that we could not allow to get hot because their defense is so good.
The worst offense in the ACC, too.
A little grabby, but good.
A little grabby. All those types of defenses are a little grabby.
Yeah.
Like, we just need to come to terms with the whole, I
just think
that type of defense. Like, we really suck.
Do you have fan feedback about the refs?
I don't. I wasn't even gonna mention them, really. But no. Go ahead.
Well, just, again, I think you saw us come out and play a lot more aggressive in the second half, and I think that was, finally the coaches getting it through to their heads that they got to be a lot more physical, because Clemson's being physical as well. And, again, that's sometimes where the 2-3 zone versus man-to-man kind of sometimes it looks like we're getting kind of screwed when it comes to the calls, because
we're just playing a different type of defense.
We're playing a different type of defense. Yeah, I mean, we're in your face, but we're not in your face like that. Like, yeah, when you drive or you get it down low, then that's a different story. But
Buddy got bumped twice heading to the basket. Body bumped twice heading to the basket.
Pretty good. And there was a lot of hands on people.
Always hands on the back, and you can hand check. You just can't do it with two hands, right? Or grab.
Yeah, so I've seen a couple push off. I mean. Basically, they were testing the refs. The refs weren't calling it. It was being played physical, and at the end
of the day, Clemson had more fouls called on them, personal fouls, than we did, 17-14.
Well, yeah, because we came out in the second half and we started being physical and going to the line, and like you said, we shot 27 free throws, which you'd like to see, a better percentage there. But
right, we're about at 80% as a team, and we shot 74. So some easy points there missed. You get to the line 27 times. That's all I ask. I mean, they're a good enough team to where they'll make most of those most of the time.
Right. I mean, but to how Coach alluded, I mean, to what he alluded to, like, obviously our defense has got to play a little bit better. But again, that little lull on offense is really what did it in the beginning.
Yeah, it was hard to watch. I know there was people that turned off the game. I mean, I know. I know that doesn't usually happen, and it did. So, anyways, all right, it's time to hear from you.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House.
All right, you guys know what to do. At the end of every game, I ask for your thoughts. You give them. We talk about them here. By the way, that crowd noise, too, is from a Syracuse game that I was at when I was videoing something, by the way. So that's a real, that's a real inside the dome crowd noise. I've never mentioned that before, but I just was thinking about that as I'm like,
no, it's a cool story.
Because
cool.
Shut up, Joe.
I'm just saying.
No,
you know that it's nothing that anybody can prove either. So either way, it sounds good.
That's true. But it is. So
I mean, I just feel like if it was true, you would mention it by now.
Well, no, because I was thinking about during this game. I was thinking about, and I'm gonna get the fan feedback, but I was thinking about, just there were some fans at Clemson. And you heard him booing the refs a little bit, and I think the broadcasters even talked about it. It was kind of nice, right? It was kind of nice. I mean, like I miss the fan thing, man. I miss the fan thing.
I heard some boos in there. There's a couple of bad calls.
Yeah. So, Well, they thought they were bad anyway. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I said.
But what you have, that's just a recording of what goes on at Syracuse at home games.
Yeah, that was
piped-in fan noise.
That was not piped in, but yeah, basically. Yeah, we could if we could pipe that in, it'd be better than what it is. But to be honest with you, I don't think if you're not going to allow fans, you don't deserve piped in noise. That's just my opinion. All right, hey, at David_Super, I'm done with Buddy. What does he do for this team on either end of the floor? Coach put him back in the game with 3:43 left to play, down by 20 plus. My mind is blown. Someone please explain, Joe.
Yeah, I really couldn't explain it either. So, all I know, like I said, is there's a lot of overreactions every single time something like this happens. Like every time, like we lose, there's overreactions. You're allowed to have a bad game. I almost go upon the fact that this might not even be a bad loss if it comes to the fact that Brahma is going to be ready to play, like 15, 20 minutes a game, because as you can see, Brahma being back, and we've talked about it before, like when he comes back, it's going to change the rotation, and he's going to have to sub out more, and he's going to have to go with a hot hand. And when we have those guys available, he showed Brahma was available, could already play 28 minutes. He was subbing in people. If he's playing bad and he keeps them in, then and we lose, then there's always going to be those fans that, go to the whole nepotism thing and, he's his son, so we're going to play him, right? He doesn't want to hear from Julie when he gets home. So, I mean, that's what the fans are going to say, right? Like,
right. That's the typical Twitter response.
We've heard it for 2.5 years. Ever since Buddy's been there. So, and we knew that it was coming. So we knew it's going to happen. When he has a bad game, then that's what you happen, But
Buddy's had a few bad games though, and he's a junior. Like he shouldn't be having these. I mean, everybody's allowed bad games. Right. But let's be honest. I mean, he needs to be better. He does.
I mean, I think he forces some shots. I think I think they all force some shots when they really shouldn't be. They should be obviously running the
every single one of them
effectively and being a lot more of a
the only one that really doesn't
team player
force bad shots is Mark. He needs to take more. Probably needs to do the antithesis of that. He probably needs to maybe force some shots.
Yeah, I just don't understand sometimes when he's not aggressive, because Amir Sims was on Quincy. And I feel like he had the matchup to be able to be aggressive and get some guys in foul trouble and get some free throws. So Mark yesterday was a little bit of I know he still played tough, but I just expect more from certain players. And even Quincy, I feel like I don't. In the beginning of the year, it seemed like it didn't matter who we played. And he's played against some good big men to where he still had double-doubles. And I just don't know. I don't understand certain games. I mean, I know Amir Sims is good, so it was going to be difficult, but I think he relied a little bit on the outside shot yesterday. Amir Sims allowed it, gave it to him, so he took it and he missed. So
At Lee Patton here piggybacks on what David on Twitter says. Between COVID and shutdowns, it is clear Buddy has lost his shot. Let him find it before he comes back into the starting lineup. Coach is not doing his son any favors playing him right now. The kid clearly works hard, but he is pressing and is lost out there. Well, he won't be out of the starting lineup. That's for sure. That's not going to happen. But some frustration. I'm just, to reiterate from the fans. At Tony21NY, gotta stop relying on threes. Too many outside shots when we could have drove the lane. Better odds for points or get sent to the line instead of empty possessions. There was the shot selection. Let's be honest. Like, it was not good. Even when it wasn't threes. Like, some of these mid-range jumpers early in the shot clock were just not good shots. No. And I think it's clear. I mean, it's clear to me. I don't know what you guys think, but Joe, you can tell me what you think. Their game is really kind of like the inside game, and Buddy with the mid range, the 12 to 15 footers if he can, and things like that. I feel like that has been more effective than just chucking the ball up from three. You had Gerard 2 for 6, Buddy 2 for 7, and even Gerard with the inside game a little bit. And obviously getting to the line, he only got to the line 5 times, but hit 3. So 5 for 20 overall.
It still isn't bad. It wasn't like we were gunning. And that's the thing that's like
5 for 20 is not good at all.
It's not a good percentage, but 23s isn't like a crazy. I mean, there's been so many games where we've shot 30. So,
you know what? You're right. You're right.
Right. So, and realistically, like I said, we missed some easy shots that on most days we're going to make early in the first half. That's what I mean. Like that, this just could be just kind of like a happening. I don't see us missing those easy shots every single game. And then I also do believe that, the return of Barama, like I said, it might have hurt. It might have hurt a little bit of team stuff.
It's possible.
He hasn't played, right? He comes in. Now you got guys subbing out, coming in, coming out. Like Kadari's playing 28 minutes. And if you have Guerrier and Dolce on the side, now you're talking about you got to have either two out of Joe, Buddy, and Alan Griffin sitting on the bench at the same time when these guys have been playing 36 plus minutes every single game. So with the return of Barama and with Kadari getting more minutes, that's gonna change the lineup a little bit. It's gonna change, well, not really the lineup, but like the substitutions in the minutes. And I think the team's gonna have to get used to that because as long as Barama is ready to go, he's gonna play.
Yeah, right. And it's just too bad it took this long. And we are where we are, and there's nothing we can do about it. So we just have to deal with it. At Cuse Waterboy, our buddy Tony, I closed my finger in the door of a truck once years ago, and it latched shut. Finger swelled and filled with blood behind the nail, and as I screamed every obscenity known to man, and even some new ones. A couple weeks later, I lost the nail. The entire process was more enjoyable than this game.
Wow. I was going to say, I just did the same thing a couple months ago, except for it wasn't in the nail. It was more up the finger, so.
Yeah. You shut your own finger in a car door.
And it latched.
Just to like piggyback on what Tony said, Syracuse with 13 steals. Kadari had 6 of them. Clemson had 4. Okay? So you think about that, and not just the steals, but the turnovers, all the turnovers combined, 20, and getting 9 points out of it.
Yeah.
And just so many missed opportunities. Like when you do that, they could not push up the floor. Like, I don't know, I didn't even understand the layup stuff.
Yeah, I felt like they got away with the goaltend that one time with Griffin.
They definitely did. But it did. I mean, whatever, right? I mean,
2 points. Yeah,
whatever. But right. I mean, if we lose this game by 1 or something, or even
well,
3,
there's also a stat to look at that. They had 19 assists. I mean, Clyde Trapp had 11 himself, and we only had 6 as a team. So
Syracuse did a good job taking care of the ball, though, and the defense was pretty handsy themselves with some careless mistakes from the Clemson offense, and nothing comes out of it, and a lot of it has to do with obviously the missed shots and not being able to rebound for squat. They suck at it.
I didn't understand that.
Huh?
I didn't understand that yesterday. I didn't think we were going to get beat by 17 on the boards.
No
against
way.
This team.
No way. I mean, yeah, I didn't either. Just because of they're not a huge team, and we've done pretty good against guys at least around our size. And
Effort.
yeah, well, we can talk about that too. By the way, the effort is free T-shirt by the original Joe G is out. It's out if you want. Just saying, it's cheap. So. I'm getting
not
one.
free.
I'm getting
not
one.
Free.
The T-shirt's not free, but the effort is. Okay?
Yeah.
So, in Syracuse did not have any yesterday. Like, they were just lethargic, man.
In the
Like,
first half, anyway. Yeah,
oh,
definitely.
yeah. Well, Joe stepped it up. But, I mean, let's be honest.
Joe's going to have to step it up.
Joe stepped it up, but I can't. Nobody else really noticeable stood out to me other than Joe in the second half as far as being aggressive. That's just my pedestrian opinion. At Baptized by Fire 7, even Matt Park on Twitter, even Matt Park in a defending Jim kind of way was talking about how much better teams are at shooting threes today, stretching the zone and making it easy to score inside, especially when our bigs don't perform the way we used to. So, look, we've got a lot of... Hold on, and I'll get to some of them. But let's just talk about this for a second, Joe. And there's probably something else in there, and I don't want to steal anybody else's thunder, but it's come up from this one here. So, are you sick of seeing the zone? Are you over it? Because I've been a zone apologist to a certain extent. And what I always say is when it's played right, it's effective. But they're not playing it right. They haven't played it right. Like this team, with mostly this group of guys, they haven't played it right for a couple years. It's been a couple years.
2. This
2
year.
years. This year and last year. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But people are doing, you got 2 forwards for UVA. I know it's kind of an anomaly, but you got 2 forwards for UVA who are just killing it from behind the arc. We get crushed from behind the arc all the time. This is a normal thing now. Do we have to play zone constantly? Can we switch this thing up at all? These kids come out of high school largely playing man-to-man. It's a more natural basketball defense. It takes time to learn this. We got some guys 2-3 years into this, and we're still struggling. So, I mean, what do you think? That's just. I mean, I feel like we need to.
I mean, we can. Sure, we can. We can do anything, right?
Well, I suppose. What's your thoughts, though? We're not gonna. Yeah, I know. But what is your thought, though, Joe? You're skirting around the question. Should we? Would you like to see it? Are you tired of seeing the same thing over and over and over again? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And where are we?
There's kind of different results every year. But are you talking about like within a season, kind of giving up on it and being like, okay,
I'm saying yes. With between last year and so far this year, our defense has been the problem, right? That's fair to say, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, overall, that's been the issue. So, I mean, last year we struggled to score a little bit, but do
you think that
I would like to see something different?
Okay, I get it, but do you think that if we go man to man, that it would be harder for 2 guard to get past Buddy than in the zone? Or
yeah,
a point
for
guard
Buddy's
to get
sake,
past Joe?
on Buddy's sake. I don't know. I think Joe's a little quicker than Buddy, so that's tough. I think Joe's a little better than Buddy on that end. But yeah, I mean, Buddy, I think, might struggle a little bit more than Joe would.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, really, the 2-3 zone and the way that he plays it, it comes down to just learning it and effort.
It's discipline, too, which they're not.
Right. Well, obviously there's discipline too, but there are also there's a situation with the 2-3 zone where you can recruit guys that don't necessarily have to be good at man-to-man defense, but they're good in other areas, so they fit a zone scheme in which it allows us to recruit a little bit differently. And I'm only really using that as an excuse because, again, like you said, most people do play man-to-man, but there's some people that fit better in a 2-3 scheme versus a man-to-man scheme. So,
and I understand. I'm not saying switch to man-to-man and be done with it. I'm saying be able to adapt in a game to some extent.
Right. Well, I think again, coach has been around forever. He believes in his craft, and he thinks that the 2-3 zone that he coaches can adapt to any type of situation during a game, depending on what the other team's doing. And it's worked for so long that at this point, I don't think that you're going to get somebody to think otherwise. So,
Okay,
like I said,
fair enough.
As long as Boeheim's here, that's just what you have to expect. I don't really understand why people even waste their breath even talking about it. Really, like, again, and we've talked about this in other podcasts, is that question is really going to come down to when we replace Boeheim. When it's finally he's done and we have to go ahead and replace him. That's when it's going to be.
I think the traditional way we're used to seeing Syracuse would probably have to be scrapped.
I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Because is that what's going to happen? Are we going to continue down
Depends on who's there,
the
right?
lineage of coaches that are going to, right?
Let's do it on merit and not seniority or, that type of thing.
Right. And I think that's going to be a big question when it comes down to that. And not saying that and none of the assistants could get this job once he's gone, but I'll guarantee you that part of it is, are you just going to come in and just play 2-3 zone and do the same thing Boeheim did? Or are you going to kind of add your own thing? That's going to be a big deal because otherwise they could just go completely away from it. We still have a great brand. We have great recruiting tools as far as the Mello Center and just being in the Northeast where basketball is a predominant sport. So, it wouldn't be difficult. I don't think it'd be difficult to get an up and coming coach from a successful mid-major team or something like that where he can come in and he can kind of change it and use the brand to kind of reignite something else. But I'm just not going to expect that as long as Boeheim's here.
All right, we will be back with the rest of fan feedback and the NC State preview right after this. All right, one more time. Let's hear from the good folks over at Bet Online. Bet Online, the title sponsor for the Cuse Militia and Armchair Media. Super Bowl's here. It's tonight. Get there. Check out all the prop bets for the Super Bowl. Will the Chiefs go back-to-back? Can Brady claim his 7th ring? I don't know. Why don't you go there? Check it out. There's also there's all sorts of props, man. They've come up with something for everything. Who's going to score first? What is it? Kelsey versus Gronk. Got all those props out there too. So head over to Bet Online. They're going the extra mile to make sure you can get in on everything imaginable this season, from game spreads and totals to team, player, and coach and props. Bet Online gives you more options to wager than any other place online. Head over to Bet Online today. Use the promo code ARMCHAIR to take advantage of all of the great sign-up bonuses. Bet Online, your online sportsbook experts. Thank you, Bet Online. Okay, so as we were at E. Koenigke, Clemson had 19. He says 19. They had 20 turnovers, took 12 less shots, and put us on the free throw line more, and we still lost by 17 points. Things need to change. Programs don't fear us anymore. We are becoming irrelevant. Joe, you just went on a little rant. You want to go on another one?
God.
So look, let me just say this as just a pedestrian fan, which is what I still am. I mean, we just enjoyed doing a show about it. So I totally grasp this thought and this feeling, because when it used to be, Syracuse was. We never really worried about a tournament bid. We never really, it was mostly about, how far are we going to go, more so than are we even going to make it. I just didn't grow up worrying about getting into the NCAA tournament. I don't remember it being this frustrating. I don't know if it's the talent or the cohesion. Or what?
There's random years here and there.
There is random years here and there, but doesn't it feel a little bit different here the past few years?
I mean, yeah, we got put on sanctions and we lost a whole bunch of scholarships.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, until we can come back and actually go through like a 3-4 year process of having all our scholarships, like I just can't it's hard for me to judge when it comes to that kind of stuff because now you can't miss. And that's like, again, that was Boeheim's MO as far as, just getting all these guys. And some of them could be projects and, not be ready until junior, senior year, 3-4 years in. But that gave us that depth to always go in with the new young talent. And it just got to a point for like 3-4 years we couldn't miss. Everybody had to be good. And we've missed on some people.
Yeah, we've missed a couple.
Margin of error was kind of small, and I think that everything's kind of cyclical, but at the end of the day, we always end up kind of getting back to where we were. So until we get there, though, this is going to be the criticism, obviously. A lot of the stuff
we go through this when there's droughts, when there's just we haven't really had droughts. I mean, we haven't like strung together a ton of losses. I mean,
yeah,
it's just frustrating because we've been getting in our losses. We've been getting crushed. Like some of these haven't even been close. I mean, the first Pitt game was close and UNC was close, but we've been blown out a few times this year, and it just looks bad. It compounds on all of the negative and what we see with our eyes. And when, after a game, I mean, of course, everybody's going to armchair quarterback everything, and that's what it comes down to is, well, are we playing the right defense? Why can't we change? How come we can't be more versatile as far as defense goes? And I'm kind of with you there, but I mean, like Joe says, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can make an argument for both sides, but at least if you try it, you try it. Like we haven't seen it in game, so we don't know. And coach hasn't seen it in game either, and I highly doubt he's doing it in practice.
No, well, I mean, it's very difficult because you look at it, and if Sidibe never got hurt, I think that this is a different season.
Obviously.
So it's like
obviously. Yeah.
And now right in the middle of the season where you're trying to figure out the COVID crap and you got, games that are getting postponed and everything is just so up in the air all the time. And now you get your center back that you thought you were going to have all year. So now you're talking about throwing something else in the loop. So we have depth and some depth that I think we're confident in now. And I would like to see Jim kind of throw in a certain lineup and press for a decent amount of time during a game just to try to do something, I know we did a little bit, but usually we don't do it until we're down and we have to make something happen, But I'd like to have seen that.
The press yesterday was totally ineffective and didn't do anything at all. I think we had one.
Plus, on top of it, there's just certain people
10-second violation. Yeah, I know. We had one 10-second violation.
If you have the right lineup in based upon who we have available right now, then you could probably do some damage. But if there's certain players in there, you see it, and that's who they attack. And so, yeah.
At David C. Wilder, he says, he quotes Dolezaj here and says, Dolezaj says, we weren't ready for their physicality in the first half. And he says, whose job is it to get the team ready? Well, obviously that would be coach's job. They were slow. They were lethargic. They were, the team, to some extent, we can be like, oh, well, whose job is it to get the team ready? Well, that's coach's job. Well, coach can't give them energy. I mean, you have to go out with the energy and make it happen. It's not, you just got to do it. It's not one of those things that, we saw on tape, hey, they obviously we knew going into this game that Clemson's defense was good, right?
Yeah.
So obviously coach did.
Week?
Yes.
They've had a whole week. They looked at damn tape.
Yes.
The coaches talked to them. The players were fully aware of how Clemson plays defense and how physical they were going into the game. It's how they respond and react, and they responded and reacted soft. And that's what it was. Yeah. And not until coach could get them in the damn locker room at halftime and be like, yo, what are you doing? You're down 20. Did we actually see something
right,
change
and they did. Bit? They responded because we at least played them tough in the second half. Outscored them in the second half. Right? 40? Mm-hmm. Yeah, by 3. So, look, it's his job to get him ready. Maybe you could make an argument for a younger coach or maybe even, an Eric Devendorf on the sideline or a Hop on the sideline or, someone someone to fire these kids up. I mean, or they could fire themselves up. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. But
I mean, again, if they come out and they don't play, it doesn't necessarily mean every time that the coach didn't get them ready.
Right.
A coach can get a team ready, and then just players don't respond.
Yeah.
You have to be able to respond to that.
Another Buddy comment here. Kevin on Facebook says Buddy Boeheim is downright awful. He is unathletic and too slow, shooting under 30% from three. He has the worst turnover and doesn't get taken out of the game. The front line is too small and too soft. Well, we know why. I mean, we're missing a guy there. So, and Mark's not soft either. It's time for Jim Boeheim to go. He cannot recruit the big men. His defense needs to be able to change when down or not being able to handle what is happening. Too old and too set in his ways. Okay. I guess there's a little there we could talk about. And like I said, I mean, it's never going to happen, but I would like to see them come out of the zone once in a while just to see if it changes anything or helps anything at all. As far as Buddy goes, we kind of already touched on that. And, Coach is set in his ways. He is. So it kind of is what it is. But he's been set in his ways before he was old. Coach, that's coaches are set in their ways. That's what coaches do. They kind of do, the same things. Look at Coach K. Look at Roy Williams. What he does. Is it more effective? Maybe they get better recruits. Yeah, but they're still doing the same things that they've been doing. Yeah. Here you go, Joe. This is the one I wanted you to comment on because he gives you a line up here. Our offense was terrible, but glad Richmond got more time. He led our defense with 6 steals. Would like to see him start so we are not having to press or do desperate stuff when it comes into the game down 10. Sidibe probably won't be the answer to our rebounding and paint problems. We are NIT bound unless we change quickly, and I don't see that happening. Would like to see a defensive lineup. Would like to see a defensive lineup doesn't have to start, but here it is: Kadari, Griffin, Woody or Braswell, Quincy, and Mark. He says worth a shot. So, assuming Sidibe is not going to be able to play. When you say Sidibe's probably won't be the answer to our rebounding and paint problems, I mean, I think it's.
Why?
Well, I think it's a little bit unfair to judge that on that game.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, why? Why would you say that? Yeah,
well,
off of 11 minutes off of his first game back after a surgery, I don't think that's fair to say. And honestly, the defense still looked better with him in there. So I would take a Braswell / Newton, and I would probably switch out
Mark for
no. Well, yeah, throw Mark over there and then put Sidibe in the middle. Yeah, that would be our best defensive lineup.
Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking. In a few weeks, this season's going to be over. So for us to sit here and be like, well, when Sidibe's ready and he's healthy, I mean, we could have said that a few weeks ago. But at this point here, I mean, he's either going to get it by the time the ACC tournament comes along, or it's just going to be a season where, he's just going to have to recover the best he can during the season. And then, hopefully, with any luck, Sidibe comes back next year. Because he has that extra year of eligibility. He can be a fifth-year senior. So
he probably would.
All right. Top fan Daryl on Facebook. By the way, Jesse, top fan too. Sorry, Jesse. It's just Jesse, good job, dude. I'm off my game today. Says, okay, here it goes. Sean, Joe, it's time. First of all, I will never take away from Coach Boeheim and all he's done for Syracuse University basketball, college basketball in Central New York. Coach has a remarkable career. That's why he's in the College Basketball Hall of Fame. The basketball team has been average at best since joining the ACC. 100% agree with the university making the move to the ACC conference, especially from a financial standpoint. At some point, John Wildhack really needs to take a look at the basketball program and coach and make a hard decision sooner than later. The game has passed Coach Boeheim. I'm tired of hearing that Boeheim will coach until he's ready to retire. The university has to do what is right for the team and the university and not worry about hurting people's feelings. Boeheim is a coach, not the all-be ruler of Syracuse University. The team needs change. Not going to happen.
Nope.
I'm sorry, Daryl. It's not going to happen. So
Sorry about the cough there. Took a bad sip.
Yeah, I saw that. So the thing is, and we got another one. Let's just do this one here and we'll wrap it up. Tim on Facebook, I love Jim Boeheim. He's done all you can for a school, but every coach has to go at some point. There's a reason Cuse and Duke are poor teams. These coaches are hanging on too long, in my opinion. Well, Duke's having an off year for the first time since I can remember. So, it's been how long since Duke was struggling? I don't even remember the last time. So, with that said, between Daryl and Tim's comments, we assumed, to be fair, that Coach was probably going to go after Buddy graduated.
Right.
Okay, so I think we still have that long. I don't think he's in jeopardy of losing his job. I don't think that any of that is, he's had a couple Final Four runs not too far in the past, and we've scraped by and been able to get into the tournament. The year before last, I think we got in. We didn't do much, but we did make it in, and it's been a struggle. And I think that, to your point, Joe, and we've talked about it in length before, that these, John Mildhack and these administrative higher-ups, they understand what we've been through with the sanctions and missing out on some guys in recruiting and being down scholarships. Like, they have to have some kind of understanding about that. And I think we get lost because it seems like so long ago, and it seems like it's taken forever to climb out of this hole. And this is the first year where we've had all our scholarships back, and it feels like forever. And I think that when you put that into perspective, and especially, of course, administrators over at the university are going to, he's not going to lose his job. And I think we have until at least Buddy graduates before we even seriously give it thought and talked about.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Well,
couldn't have said it better myself.
Wow, first time for everything. If the only thing would be is, what we know that there's a lot of people calling for it. Well, you can call for it if you want, because the university's not going to listen to people on Twitter, and they're not going to listen to things. That's why I focus on trying to see something different. Trying to see, I'm hoping Coach plays some man in certain situations, or anything. That's because he's not going anywhere. So right. I would like to see some adaptation to just what's going on in college basketball, because there's no point for me to sit here and call for I'm not in the business calling for anybody's job, by the way.
No.
So I'm not going to even go there because it's not my decision. And I would like to see some things change. I would like to see some things a little bit different, done a little bit different. But again, he's way smarter than all of us.
No, and on top of that, too, we do get the hometown discount with him. So, again, there is a situation where it comes into money. Because once we lose Jim Boeheim, if we want to go for one of those hot shots for like a big-time coach.
That's a great point, yeah.
It's going to cost a lot more money than what we're spending right now. So maybe it's a situation where the school and the university is trying to basically – I'm sure that Jim Boeheim is not going to sit there and play games, and they're going to try to create some type of process to maybe get some more money available for the next coaching change, because
they're going to need it.
I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't,
well, coach makes $2 million.
Just,
a Hall of Fame coach makes $2 million a year at Syracuse University.
No,
huh? Is it more than that?
That's what I'm saying. No, I'm just saying. I think that's what I'm.
Yeah, that's about what it is. Coach K makes like 5 to 7.
Yeah.
So,
right.
I don't know what Roy Williams makes. So, Coach is doing this for, look, that's a lot of money. But it's peanuts when you put it into perspective. It's not,
right.
You know what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic, but I'm just saying, when you put it into perspective, there's very few people that are going to be doing this level of coaching and have done this level of coaching for this long for that kind of money. And also, you got to remember, in all other teams aside, Syracuse, Jim Boeheim has never had a losing season. We've always been 500 or above. Never had a losing season in 45 years. So, And we're on track to be really close, but I still think we pull it off. But you gotta take that into consideration. Win percentage is still up there. It's still up there. So.
Yep.
Anyway, all right, that is it. I appreciate all of you who participated in fan feedback. Again, I'll ask for your thoughts at the end of every game. You leave them. We talk about them. And that's what this show is. It's all about. So you guys drive it. Appreciate it. All right, Joe. Syracuse, they're going to stay on the road. They're going to face NC State again. The Wolfpack sits at 8-7, 4-6 in the ACC. The Orange will travel to PNC Arena on Tuesday. I think the game's at 6:30. The all-time series sits at 8-6 in favor of the Orange. Syracuse took the last meeting just a week ago from today, 76-73. Griffin with 19 points and Guerrier with 10 rebounds at the Dome. The difference in this upcoming game will be DJ Funderburk, 6'10". The 6'10" senior is averaging 12 points and 5 rebounds a game in 22 minutes of play. Him paired with Manny Bates. Obviously, this is going to make this just that much more difficult for Syracuse. Bates with 14 rebounds and 17 points last week. NC State is 71st in KenPom and currently 77th in the net, making this a quad 2 away game. So, Joe, we've seen them once. We barely scraped by. They have Funderburk back, and we're on the road. And we all saw how much energy Syracuse brought to Clemson yesterday. So what's going to be the difference in this game from the last game? And we're also coming off of a road loss. And I will say that dealing with the inconsistencies in the ACC in general, because you can watch these games and you don't know what you're going to get. There's been a lot of surprises. Some teams have, there's a lot of teams that have surprised me. Pitt's one of them. And also with the home court advantage this year seeming way lopsided, what can we do? Or what can we expect coming into NC State, Joe?
Well, we're going to expect the same NC State team that came out after they didn't have Devin Daniels and Funderburk, and they played real hard and could have won that game against us. The very next game after, they lost to Virginia by 7, and Funderburk had returned, and they just beat Boston College by 15. So I'm hoping that Sidibe can put in some more minutes, more than he did this past game. If he doesn't play, then obviously that hurts, especially considering that we didn't see Funderburk. And unlike Manny Bates, he's a guy that mostly scores just around the rim. Funderburk actually can shoot some jumpers, mid-range jumpers, stuff like that. He's a guy that they could probably put in the middle of the zone, and him and Bates, if they're in there together, could make it very difficult for us. They still got the guys that can shoot the threes. Braxton Beverly, Cam Hayes, and Thomas Allen were the 3 guards that started against Boston College. But Shaquille Moore was the guard off the bench that came in and scored 19, had a career high. And Sebron came off the bench as well. That was the guy that was guarding Kadari last game. And Helms is going to be one of the guys that, we got to watch out for too. So adding Funderburk adds a different thing on offense for them. So it's going to be an interesting game. I don't think it's going to be easy, but usually a team comes off of a butt kicking, usually pretty good. So again, if Sidibe can give us good minutes and give us some good defense down low and stop some of the big men and some of the stuff that Manny Bates and stuff was doing last and Helms was doing last game, then that can help. But considering that we beat them last time, they probably want revenge. And because we just got our butts kicked, it should be a pretty competitive game. And really, I look at it as just who's going to make the shots, who's going to hit the shots. Last game, we didn't hit the shots. So we need to have a good defensive effort. Jim needs to be able to substitute and actually, just put in the good, as far as matchup wise, but it's going to come down to who hits the shots, just like this past game. I mean, we hit a couple shots here and Clemson misses a couple shots there. I mean, Clemson made a lot of tough shots. We missed a lot of easy shots. You flip that, reverse that, it's a really close game.
Yeah, Clemson had a good shooting day against us, and it's just, that's an anomaly for them. So it was a perfect combination for them in the worst possible situation for us, playing a really good defense and with a all of a sudden hot shooting Clemson offense. So sometimes you get caught in the jaws, and then that's it. And that's what happened to us. So with Braxton Beverly, he didn't do a ton against us last time. I always worry about him because he's a threat.
He hit a couple threes.
He hit three
in the first half, but we made it.
But that was it. Yeah, that was it, though. He hit 3 threes in the first half. I hope that Syracuse, and obviously NC State's going to do the same thing, so it could be a moot point. But that they look back at this game because we really shouldn't have won that game. NC State can look at that game and be like, man, we should have won, because they really should have.
Yeah.
They really should have won that game. So they're going to be, like you said, they're going to be ready to come back and ready for revenge. And Syracuse really escaped with one there. And, we just barely scraped by with a team that was out 2 of its, 6 best players. So,
well, and that's the one thing that people didn't even mention either, because I just noticed that everyone's kind of killing Coach, killing Buddy and everything. And I know they talked about, Kadari finally gets minutes, but with 28 minutes, I thought Kadari was going to put in, be a little bit more of a factor.
6 steals.
And no one really said and no one really said anything about Joe, and scored 19. So, again, if you remember this game, this was the game that Kadari basically kind of kept us in, and eventually
14 points in 16
hit
minutes.
Hit the shot to win it.
Right.
So, I can see him putting in some minutes, but I can also see NC State kind of making that adjustment. And again, like I said, we're gonna have to make shots, because the fact that Kadari played like he did last time, when he gets in the game, there's probably going to be some added, attention toward him, which should be able to allow some open shots to some other people. So.
And we go back, and I don't want to harp on it, but really, there's been one. As far as, I'm not even talking about non-conference stuff, but as far as conference play goes, there's been one game where everybody really played as a team, and that would have been the Virginia Tech game, and we crushed Virginia Tech. And Virginia Tech has a pretty decent defense. I don't know what their adjusted efficiency is. I guess I should have maybe looked, but they got a pretty decent defense. They're that scrappy man style defense. So, I mean, they're going to have to play as a team. And Joe, he scored 19 points last game, but they didn't play as a team. There's too many people not doing enough to where hero ball is not going to work. Yeah. Hero ball is not going to work, man.
Nope.
It's not going to work in the ACC these days. You have to play like a team, and that's how they win this game. But I will give predictions as always, and I'm not trying to be negative, but I worry about heading into this game after beating them once already, and just having coming off that loss and going from South Carolina to Syracuse, getting a couple days and coming back to North Carolina to play on the road, getting beat up by Clemson. Maybe it's motivation. I hope it is, and I hope I'm wrong. But I see it 82 to 76. NC State.
Oh, nice. Well, we have to be able to make adjustments. They had 7 players play over 20 minutes against Boston College, and Sebron had 17. So they're going to play the full court. They're going to play pressure, but they don't play it as well as Clemson. So I do think that we're going to get a little bit of confidence and a little bit of more of an effort because of how bad that game went and how these next couple practices and some butt chewings are going to go. And, if Sidibe's available, there's going to be some quick pull-ins because that makes us deeper. We got to be aggressive. Big guys got to be aggressive. They got to go at Bates, Funderburk, Helms. Got to get these guys in foul trouble. And they got to be able to put some points on the board.
And they had Bates fouled out too last game. He could get sloppy in there. So if you go at those guys, they're going to foul.
Yeah. I say 74-72 Syracuse. I think we shoot a lot better.
Another close one.
And yep.
Okay. Well,
it's going to be a nail biter, I believe, unless we come out or one of the teams just come out and just play that bad. I mean, every once in a while you get those bad games. You can't hit the broadside of a barn, and you just get yourself in too deep of a hole to be able to climb out of.
If it's at home, I like your score. I just being on the road, Funderburk back. We struggle with those guys. We struggled with Manny Bates. He had a field day with us.
He did.
And to have 2 of them out there,
No, like I said, I mean, I don't know how much they play together, but hopefully Brahma helps that.
Well, hopefully. Well, if they were smart, they'd play them both together against us.
Yeah.
Right?
Especially if Brahma wasn't out there. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
exactly. So, anyway, all right. Hey, look, man, keep your heads up, all right? Keep your heads up. And always, just remember that we still have a lot of time left to do some things. And we got an ACC tournament to go through, too.
Hey,
so,
if all the best teams opt out.
yeah, that's true, right? Right. But here's the thing: as far as like who's going to opt out, UVA. I mean, when you look at the ACC right now, kind of a down year. You've got some good teams. Florida State, UVA, I'd say are probably the cream of the crop right now.
Virginia Tech's up there.
Virginia Tech's okay. By the way, too, Virginia Tech's sitting 36th in the net. If they can go on a run here, that'll be a quad one win by the time the year's said and done.
No, they're 14-4 right now. So
yeah, and I mean, I'm not one to root for Virginia Tech. But I've found myself doing it just to see if we can get that quad one win in there. So,
well, and too, Clemson. People have to understand. I think Clemson people look at Clemson as a football school versus a basketball school. Brad Brownell has done some good things with that team, considering where they were before he got there. And I mean, them sitting at 12-5 and some of the wins that they had early in the season. They had a lot of COVID issues and stuff like that where they didn't have their full teams available for all of the ACC games and some of the games that they lost. But full strength, this is kind of the Clemson. I mean, obviously not every game by 17, but that kind of game and that type of team, that's what you see when Clemson's full strength. So I after looking at what they've done and understanding the people that have missed certain games for COVID and then seeing them yesterday, albeit a bad game for us, I think Clemson's a better team than and they're 12-5 overall.
Yeah,
but they're a better team advertised anyway.
Yeah, they were really good to start the year. That Amir Sims, man, for 6'8", boy, he can play, man. He is built. He's a strong dude.
Dude, 6'8", 245. That's
yes, and he's all of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So anyway, we'll see. Well, hopefully I'm wrong. I love being wrong when I go against Syracuse, but I'm trying to be accurate here. So there's that. But
just get ready for cardiac. That's all.
Yeah, well, I'm okay with cardiac. Okay, I'm not okay with slumped down on my couch like waiting for a game to end because we're getting freaking pummeled. Yeah, I'm not okay with that. I'm okay with cardiac. As much of a toll as it takes on us, I think I'll take that over just getting freaking pummeled. Yeah, I'm good with that. But anyways, yeah, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. Obviously, I want to thank Bet Online, Live CBD, Armchair Media. And that's it. Super Bowl Sunday. Go Bucs. Go Brady. First time for everything. I'm going to root for Brady.
Patty Mahomes.
For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.